Hello and welcome back to another edition of the Formula One Fans UK podcast. I'm Reese. I'm joined today by
Chris
and Dan.
Yes, like Formula One, we've come up with just the exact same lineup. How are we doing, guys?
Same as last week.
I was waiting on Chris, but I'm doing great. Chris not being on it so much.
Same as last week.
Same as last week, pretty much. It was pretty much the same as last week.
No, I disagree. It was worse than last week.
I thought it was better.
No, it's penalties and dodgy driving
penalties
hasn't made it better. Actually, no, we did get a safety car, so I think it is better. I changed my decision. One safety car changes it all.
Do you know what? I watched the IndyCar last night at Mid-Ohio, and when you say before the IndyCar is lower down the pecking order than Formula One, no, it's the other way around. Maybe not technology-wise, but the racing in IndyCar is brilliant.
Yeah, the racing's brilliant because it's a spec series, and I think Formula One next year, going with these new regulations, might be a little bit more that way. Shall we? We'll go through the order as we do every race review, and we'll start at the front with Max Verstappen.
What can you say? He just drives.
We kind of knew it was going to happen because he won the last one by 20 plus seconds or whatever it was. I wasn't really expecting a different outcome unless he was taken out. Tried to bribe a couple of drivers, but they were too far at the back, so it didn't work.
So this is what you get when you have two races at the same track.
Yeah,
in identical conditions as well.
Yeah, you got cars that are all in tuned in to the racetrack, and we needed rain.
Well,
yeah,
we nearly had it. Nearly.
We nearly had it. This time it came an hour after the race.
Yeah.
If anything, we've learnt here, because Formula One races in Europe need to start 1 hour later.
I'm all for that.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing really to say on Max Verstappen. He qualified on pole, stayed out in front. He got the Grand Slam. I mean, he didn't get that last week because Hamilton didn't have damage when he pitted for the fastest lap.
Yeah, but Red Bull took a bit of a risk by putting him on a brand new set of tyres at the end. They didn't really need to do that.
They didn't need to, but they had the gap. And when you've got the gap, why risk the tyres on such a curb heavy circuit?
Why risk the possibility of Valtteri Bottas type stop?
Yeah, but you got to remember they're Red Bull, and if they're ever going to balls up a stop, it's only on the second driver.
Yeah, but we said that about Mercedes before, and it can happen to anybody at any time. It's the laws of physics.
I think they were able to be cautious though. They had such a margin.
Yeah. Speaking of second drivers, maybe we should just move to the one that actually had some controversial impact to the race, maybe, and forget about his teammate that checked out for 71 laps.
We're going to go in team order, are we?
Yeah,
we
might as well.
Perez.
At least he added some excitement to the race.
Yeah. Chris, I know you're Northern Irish, but can you sound a little bit more enthusiastic?
He just got bored and decided to drive like a Coulthard.
Coulthard?
Yeah, absolute amazing guy, but drives like a dick.
It's not that amazing a guy. Coulthard's a bit of a dick, full stop.
Yeah, but, I always remember it's one of the first F1 jokes or stand-up guys I ever heard from Al Murray. He's like, David Coulthard, technically Scottish, but he's in a British car, so he's driving for Britain. Great guy, but drives like a
beep.
Beep.
On the Scottish comment, Paul di Resta. Oh my God, that man, his voice goes through me. And I'm not saying that to offend anybody Scottish, but how hard is it to say medium? Every time he says medium, I swear to God, a small explosion goes off in my stomach. And all he wants to do is talk about tyres. What do you think about that car there going around the corner? Well, he's on mediums. And if he takes mediums at the next stop, then he should be okay. But the car in front of him's on mediums. Oh my God, I wanted to throw something at Mr. Rhinesound.
I like Paul di Resta. I always have. I liked him as a driver at Force India, and I do like him as a commentator. But yeah, occasionally I do just wonder where Anthony Davis is. Like, why does he have to stay on?
I love Anthony Davidson.
Anthony Davidson's brilliant.
And
they've had the best comedy teams
they've
had this year has been FP1 when they've had like Anthony Davis and Natalie Pinkham in there.
Yeah, see, I think they're kind of edging Natalie Pinkham into doing a bit more, and then she's going to be more racy. I think.
They're not. I like it when she gets racing.
Thanks, Chris.
You know I like Natalie. You know I like Natalie.
Quickly moving back to Perez. Yeah, he just pretty much he went to overtake Norris, got bumped off the track, and I think we all agree that was a bullshit penalty. And then went and bumped Leclerc off the track when Leclerc was already in front of him.
Twice.
Yeah,
twice.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, first time Leclerc was in front, second time Leclerc was behind, but he ran him off the track twice. And the second one is
by Chris's face that he disagrees with everything you're saying.
Well, I mean, well, the second one we debate whether it's a penalty or not, and I don't think it should have been a penalty. The first one that Perez did when he ran Leclerc off the first time, that was a penalty in my eyes every day of the week.
But I think it's silly for Charles. He knew how he was driving. I think he needed to pick his moments a little bit better. But yeah, definitely deserved it on the second one.
I can just imagine what was going through in his helmet, the swearing that was going on in his helmet when Lando put him in the gravel. So why did he think it was okay to put Leclerc in the gravel twice?
Yeah,
you know, even if the second one of Leclerc, of the Perez Leclerc pair, the second one I didn't think was a penalty.
I agree with that.
But you know, what's the thinking in his head when he's already received a penalty Lando received a penalty for doing it to him. So
and it was not like he would have been told about it as well. He would have been told Lando has a 5-second penalty, and this all happened before.
And Sergio's a clever driver. He's not, he's not thick. He's not a Mazepin.
He's not a dirty driver either. He did come. No. He came straight out and apologised after the race on social media as well, publicly.
No,
but you could see how much Charles wanted past that Red Bull. Like, he really wanted to get past it. Like, he just really wanted to get past it.
Sergio just disappointed me.
Where do we stand on Mercedes then? Because if we're going from disappointments, they're getting more and more disappointed.
Are they?
Bottas was second.
Bottas was second.
But Lewis had damage, but it just feels like they're falling more and more off the pace. And I'm really hoping that these Silverstone upgrades do find them a good few tenths.
Yeah. Hopefully, if they bring the full package, because there's supposed to be an engine update and there's supposed to be aero updates. So it's how much they want to put on at once.
Christian Horner does not see it as a threat. In his latest interview, he said he's not really worried about Silverstone and Mercedes. He thinks they still don't have anything for him. I hope it is untrue.
Stand Christian Horner. He's so smug. This is why Red Bull dominance is so much worse than Mercedes dominance, because they are so unbearably smug when they're winning.
They really are. They really are. It's just expected from
2010, you're like, oh, Vettel's winning. This is a nice change. And by the end of 2010, you're sick of it because of how smug they are.
Two things. Doesn't it make you worry a little bit when you see Adrian Newey on the grid with a notepad and he's writing in it? That gets me worried. What's he just seen that he wants to write down in his notebook to take back his office? And the second thing, I can't remember.
That's helpful.
Wow.
It was something to do with Mercedes.
What was it to do with Mercedes, Chris?
We are talking about Mercedes, so that's helpful.
Okay, I have a problem with Mercedes. How do they think it's acceptable to tell Bottas not to pass Lewis, and then a few laps later tell him, "Oh, pass Lewis because Lando's on his way"? Like,
I think they made the right call.
Yeah, but they should have just said, Lewis has a problem. Pass him. Go get P2 because we need to construct. We need the constructor points.
At that point, they had the constructors' points. It was whether Bottas could hold off Lando. But realising how big the problem was with Lewis, they couldn't risk losing both cars, so they pushed Valtteri past. And you can tell they made the right decision. Quicker. Yeah, but they did. It worked. It may have been a slower decision. It still worked. And the thing I was thinking about saying before was think about the pace that Lewis had in France. If Lewis didn't have a slow pit stop in France, he would have won the race. And that's the typical style of circuit as Silverstone is.
Yeah, no, I do agree, but I feel Red Bull are just another level at the moment. Hamilton, it was damage. It was damage limitation. And fourth was really, when you think of the pace that Lando had, was the best he could hope for. We'll move on to McLaren and Lando, who...
Well, he was on it all weekend. He was on fire.
Please, McLaren, make a brilliant 2021 car, because we could have a three-way fight for the championship if you believe what you see with Red Bull and Mercedes both thinking they've straight away got contenders.
Oh yeah, you like a good three-way, do you?
It's okay if it's in a freeway.
I think he's wringing the neck of that car. Not even... how is he getting the pace out of that car? It's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's next level. It's next level.
I was looking at Danny Rick this weekend and looking at Lando and thinking about the pace difference between the two of them, and that transpired to carry through into the race. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't just that Lando was faster than him all weekend. He was consistently much faster than him. And he finished the race 40 seconds ahead of him. And this is the young pretender.
Yeah. 40 seconds, yeah.
And it just, I don't know why I thought of it, but Pierre Gasly popped into my head. And I kind of thought, I wonder if Danny Rick doesn't pull it out by the end of the season. Could that be somewhere for Pierre Gasly to end up?
It's not.
Yeah, but he's got to have a multi-year deal.
I mean, every contract's got a break in it, though.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? What's a contract worth these days?
It's strange though, because you think 7th place for Ricciardo. If Norris wasn't so exceptional, you would have said he had a very good race.
Yeah,
but and he did look good when he was coming through the field. Usually, we think he started 13th, and he came through the field very well. But you just wonder what's going on and why he is so far off the pace.
Starting at 14th wasn't good whatsoever.
No. I think Mercedes are starting to regret supplying the engines now. To be fair, that's a...
Well, there's as good a chance they can take points off Red Bull.
They can take points off Red Bull, but it's also good comparison.
Yeah.
I'm sure they've got eyes on what they're doing with the engines.
Well, they would surely have all of the data, wouldn't they? From that.
So it's good. It's good data gathering sort of thing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So in one hand, it's working for them.
Could you imagine in 2025, George Russell and Lando Norris at Mercedes?
I would love it. I think that's what Lewis wants. I think that's what Lewis wants. The way he talks about Lando Norris at the moment, it's like, oh, Lando's so good. It's like, pretty much, when I retire and George is my teammate, get Lando in the car with him.
Oh, mate, it's going to be crazy.
I think I'd have a crisis if that happened.
2 things to say. I totally just got a hard on when you said that. Secondly, and I'm a cripple, I don't get them very often. Secondly, how much respect did Lewis give Lando?
I love it.
That
I love these little bromances
one of the
popping
best
up.
bits of team radio that I saw in the last few weeks.
You can't. You literally. There's nothing bad that you can say about Lando. Like, I'm yet to find like a bad subject or a bad thing that he's done. Like, he's so young. That car's way slower than he's driving it, and it isn't. Without taking anything away from them, it shouldn't be a P2 car. Maybe 4, 5, 6. Okay, maybe. But to actually wring the neck of that car and get it in P2, you cannot knock it.
Can we just say credit to McLaren as well for supplying a car that you can wring the neck out of on a very demanding circuit for 71 laps? That takes some doing.
And it not break.
I thought the radio communication and qualifying was brilliant. Sorry about that, guys. Could have been a bit better there. Lando, we hope you're sitting down.
P2.
I thought it was brilliant.
And he was so close. One corner in it.
Oh. Wasn't it? Didn't he? Oh.
A little bit of snap understeer, was it not? Snap oversteer. Just in that.
Yeah, in the turn 9, was it?
Turn 10, the final corner. Final corner.
10, yeah.
We'll go on to Ferrari, and it's strange because I am going to compliment them for a second time in 2 races by saying brilliant strategy again, because they decided we don't want to go through on the soft tyres, and it really worked. They didn't want to go through qualifying on the soft tyres. They stuck to the medium, stuck to what they believed in, and it's worked. 5th and 8th, and really it could have been a lot higher if Leclerc wasn't shoved off twice by Perez, because he would have been off down the road and Sainz would have got him anyway.
Yeah.
I wonder if surely his car must have pulled into the pits overweight. It's full of gravel. Yeah, full of gravel and stones. He must have failed post inspection.
That's a good way of getting past the weighing checks at the end, isn't it? Just okay, rather than pick up marbles, just drive through the gravel. We know Mazepin does that anyway.
He does that for fun. But yeah, Carlos, he's very impressive again. He's the driver that's fitting into the new team the best still so far. Yeah,
I completely agree. And I think he's... I've said this for a long time. I think he's an incredibly underrated driver. I think he's better than Leclerc. He went toe-to-toe with Verstappen, and let's face it, the only reason Verstappen beat him was because Carlos Sainz's car broke down like 3 times more.
Yeah.
It sounds like the 2016 all over again. So someone's car breaking down a lot and someone getting a championship.
Yeah, they didn't switch the mechanics though. They just had a switch of chassis. That's why I just quickly go back to Mercedes. Have you noticed how since the chassis swap, Lewis and Valtteri are much closer, and Lewis hasn't run a race?
Yeah. If I was Lewis, I'd be screaming at him like, "I want my toys back,
He would
please,
be asking
sir."
for the number 3 chassis.
Yeah. Give it back now. I have a question actually. Why we're on Mercedes? I'm guessing when Lewis pitted, he didn't have any softs or mediums to put on. He only had hards, right?
No, they all went to one stop.
Because I was wondering.
They just went to hards because they went to one stop. That was the plan because you think they did. I was wrong last week. We're saying it's the same compounds. They went a step softer. So when they went medium hard, it was the same as last week's soft medium. So they went for a one stop.
Okay. Yeah, I know we went one compound down on the chart, but I just, I don't know. Looking at it now, obviously the way it played out is we can look back in hindsight. Maybe a two-stop would have been better for Lewis, but if he broke his car, this doesn't really matter, does it? It was just something during the race. I was just thinking, well, what if?
Fair play to Michelin for doing that though, because
Michelin?
It was Pirelli, because it was something there to try and spice things up a bit more, and
yeah,
it almost worked.
It did. I think everyone can debate if they thought it was better or worse. I was in the better camp, and you two are in the worse sort of camp.
I just hate one-stop
Yeah,
races.
no,
I really
I
do.
think you need to be I think you need to be in a position where a two-stop is faster, but the one-stop, of course, has its advantage of track position. And I think that's why France was such a good race, because that's how it fell with the tyres. The two-stop was faster.
Let's just hold our opinions until we see what happens come Hungary.
Yeah, that's true.
Because that's when it's all due to change, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Going on now to AlphaTauri. Pierre Gasly 9th and Yuki Tsunoda 12th. I don't know where
I think both good results.
I don't know where I stand actually on Gasly's race, because he's qualified 6th and just sort of fell down the order against cars that were similar.
But it's against drivers with a lot more racing experience.
Well,
Gasly isn't going to perform
you can't really say
every weekend.
You've got Leclerc. Doesn't really have much more driving experience than Gasly.
Same Sainz as well. I mean, Sainz only got 1 more year on him. Or 2
Danny
years,
Rick
actually. He
is
got 2
the
years on him,
same.
hasn't he?
No, Danny Rick's been
in there for
more.
years. Danny Rick's in his mid-30s now.
Yeah.
Coming up to. I
Mm.
think he made his debut of HRT. To put that was what, 2012?
But,
2011, 2012?
You look at him, he's finished in front of Alonso.
Yeah. But he also qualified quite a long way ahead of Alonso.
Tsunoda had a good drive as well.
Why is he getting so many stupid penalties? So many stupid mistakes.
Oh, it's embarrassing to get that same penalty twice.
I can't figure it out. Like, if you put your hand in really hot water and you get burnt once, you don't go back for a second attempt at it thinking it's going to be any different.
Exactly.
Like,
I mean, mistakes that Kvyat made, you did only see him make them once in a weekend. Granted, he usually only had the chance to make them once because the car was upside down in the gravel. But still,
this is true. But still, like, it's getting stupid now. Because last week I'm on the Yuki hype train, and now I'm thinking man needs to go Specsavers. Like, I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there are other opticians around. Boots are quite good. But
or go
I think he
independent.
definitely needs his eyes
Go
checked.
independent. Help your local community.
You could go independent.
Help your local community.
Help the high
And send
street.
the number to Yuki because he definitely needs it.
We've got one more car in the top 10. Fernando Alonso. I mean, well deserved. Would have been in Q3 if he hadn't been horrendously blocked by Vettel.
Yeah.
Vettel tried to
was
get out of the
bad.
way. Vettel tried to get out of the way.
But it was way too late.
It just happened. It was way too late, and that's the team's fault.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah.
But as soon as Vettel saw him coming, he pulled to the right, but Alonso did the same.
Well, Alonso did that to try and gain a
So-
slipstream.
Yeah, well, no, Alonso tried to do it to get past him.
Yeah, well, yeah, but he jinked to the right, and Alonso followed him to the right to try and get any slipstream to recover any time that he lost.
You weren't getting slipstream between 9 and 10.
No, between 10 and turn 1. Like, that's why he jinked right. He didn't see him until he didn't see him until the
wasn't getting
apex.
another lap in either.
And Vettel was so slow, he didn't get another lap in. Because he was...
Yeah,
I mean,
because he had to slow down in between 9 and 10.
Vettel's reason behind it, though, was he was overtaken a few times in the final sector when everyone was jockeying for position.
Yeah.
I thought the FIA had a word with him about all
No,
this.
there's nothing in the regulations about it. It was just a
jockeying
gentleman's
positions.
agreement that has been rubbished quite a few times now by a few drivers since, well, in the last 2 weeks.
But, the big danger this weekend and last weekend was pit lane entry.
Yeah, no, this was a theme in Discord.
Yeah, that needs to be moved round
It just...
onto the front straightaway.
Well, I don't think that. I think if you just take away that where they come in, if you widen the actual road into the pit lane, it's quite narrow, and you just let them dart in before turn 10, I think you solve it.
Yeah, take away that big chunk of white line.
Start that white line sort of just before turn 10.
Right on the corner, like just right on the corner curve to run.
Just
Turn
have
10,
it like you just dart in late, like you would in Portimao.
But what confuses me is it's exactly the same every time we've been there, the pit lane has not changed. The white line has not changed. It's just maybe they just need to slow down more or have better driving ability to get into the pit lane.
No, you think only one driver struggled with it.
Yeah, but you know.
Anyway.
But yeah, anyway, move.
I was trying to go in a roundabout way without pointing this person out exactly, but that's fine. Yeah. You know, I was trying to be nice. I was trying to non-alienate the community of supporters, but it's fine.
Yeah, but we haven't even got. Should we talk about Ocon?
Oh dear, that's.
God, how horrible was that? How gut wrenching was that for 2 weekends? 2 terrible qualifying, a poor race in the first one, and this race didn't even really get started because he just got taken out.
I think his car was like, I just can't be bothered with this shit.
It just shows how flimsy still the front, the front suspension of an F1 car is. If you bang it the wrong way, it snaps because it's not designed to take the impact in that way. And it just makes you wonder. You see this and you think, oh god, that it's so easy to go out of a race. It's amazing that you don't see with all these attempts going around the outside of turn 4, someone get just clipped and broken wheel and out the race.
But that's only been happening on the front suspension. The rear suspension's taken a lot of hits this season, and
yeah, well, that's solid. That's built solid.
So why aren't they using parts from the rear on the front?
Aero weight.
Weight.
Yeah, pretty much that, and maybe also you want a bit of flexibility in there.
But you know what I'm more disappointed at? That I have not seen a meme of the Ocon and Off of these last 2 races. I was more disappointed at that than his ability to try and get out of the way, which is basically what he's had to do for 2 weeks. He's had to try and get out of the way of everyone else's accidents.
Well, he couldn't really do anything there, could he? He was just in a sandwich, and it was Giovinazzi going past that just did it. Yeah. But one thing that doesn't disappoint you, Dan, is track art. Dan, do you love your track art?
Yes, I do, especially when it comes from our sponsor.
And our sponsor is Chris.
Tracks, people. Apex Tracks.
Apex Tracks. There we go. Thank you, Track People, or Apex Tracks as they're better known. We don't have a clue who Track People are. They don't sponsor us. Apex Tracks sponsor us.
One day we have to do a video version because Chris's steering wheel action every time we bring it up is amazing. But no, continue with the sponsor.
With our amazing sponsor, Apex Tracks. Who have supplied us with another competition prize, which is going to be going up shortly. It'll be running across Instagram and Twitter. So keep an eye out for that. But in the meantime, to get all your 3D printed track art, head to apextracks.com. That's apextraxs.com. And back to the race. And guys, it's heartbreak time. P11, George Russell.
They should have just given him a point anyway.
I personally believe Alonso shouldn't have been allowed to pass him. I think that should just be a rule now, and then that's just it. No French person can pass an English person on the last lap. He's not allowed.
French.
But tell you what, No,
but he's a French team. I meant a French team, not a French person. He's Spanish. I'm surprised he's not asleep when the races go in.
All right, you're just talking shit now. Let's be honest. George scored all sorts of points in qualifying. His qualifying run was unreal.
Yeah, he got into Q3 in a Williams on medium tyres.
Mediums?
Yeah.
Medium?
Yeah.
Medium?
Mediums, yeah. On the medium tyres.
Medium. A medium tyre.
But yeah, yet another driver that is massively outperforming the ability of their car.
Yeah, he is an exceptional talent, and as well as Valtteri Bottas did this weekend, with that Hamilton contract signed, you can't put George Russell, if you're going to challenge Red Bull next season, in any car. but the Mercedes.
All the rumours, everybody is saying the announcement is coming in Silverstone.
Oh, I'm desperate for it.
Yeah, but
you look at Autosport and Valtteri Bottas over the weekend put up an interview saying, if I leave Mercedes this year, I'm going to look for other options. Does that not smack you of saying, I know I'm losing my seat this year?
Yeah, no, I agree, and I just, oh god, I still, my heart aches at that 3 laps to go overtaken. Fernando Alonso feeling guilty about it. He even said in an interview, when I saw who was P10, I just wanted it to be anyone but George.
Oh, you saw him when he got out of his car. He went straight to him.
I mean, that just shows how popular he is. They've got a...
Yeah, he did. Yeah, and he gave him a big hug and that. Obviously it's not COVID safe, but
it'll be COVID safe. It'll be COVID safe in 2 weeks.
It will. My COVID safe is burning all my masks. That's my COVID safe.
My COVID safe's going to sit with 140,000 other people.
I told you, you're not allowed in the country.
At Silverstone, right? They've said this. Outside the track, you've got to wear a mask. As soon as you're through the gates, you can take the masks off.
Well, Chris, if that's the case, may I just say this? We have a fine selection of masks available in our store. So if you head to the link in the bio of every single podcast, you can find our shop, and you can find several masks.
And T-shirts that I will be wearing at Silverstone.
T-shirts that Chris will be wearing at Silverstone.
Watch out for my live podcast.
Mate, you're going to not even make it. Let's face it. You can't even make podcasts when they're at 7.
He might be awake with 140,000 people screaming around him.
Can we move on now? Because I really want to get to this next one.
Okay, moving on. Latifi, the other Williams driver. Latifi, he drove around, and this time he got a time penalty.
What, for going too slow?
To going too fast onto double wave yellows at the end of the race.
Well, congratulations to him for actually going quick. We should be applauding him, not penalising him.
But he's only gone quick when he's not meant to. It's really frustrating me that he can't pull his finger out his ass and do anywhere near as good as his bloody teammate. It's becoming really, really frustrating for me. And I know it's the back of the field car.
It's not a back of the field car.
But you can't say that. Yeah, listen, Christopher, I'm talking, right? It is if you're driving it.
George Russell's proven it's not a back of the grid car.
In this race,
and the race before,
and
the race before that.
Okay,
and I think the one before that.
Right.
Yeah, he was on for points in Baku as well, really, and then he had these gearbox failure.
Okay, but potentially they are
all that's proven is Latifi is
meant
shit.
To be at the back.
Quite shit.
Yes, but at what point do they yank him?
At the end of the season.
Like I'm sorry, but in my mind that's too late. I think we need a Red Bull situation.
You don't know what money he's bringing to that team. He's a pay driver.
Well, surely someone like Esteban Gutierrez is available.
Yeah, he's got sponsors. He's got money.
And he's better.
It's just
Esteban Gutierrez is brilliant at finishing 11th.
It's frustrating me. It frustrates me even more than when they put what's his face with the gammy hand in
Kubica.
The car. Kubica. That frustrated me because that was nothing more than publicity.
They still do it.
Like
he had a lot of money.
He did not deserve a drive at all. He didn't deserve to be in F1.
Why does Alfa Romeo keep putting him in a car?
Nothing.
Money.
It's not like he's given them anything. Technically,
it's got to be
all in his sponsor he brings, and that's a lot of money for them. That's their title sponsor. That's the title sponsor, and he's the reserve driver.
That's crazy.
It's really starting to annoy me.
is
really frustrating.
Yeah.
But yeah,
shall we move on before we get too angry?
No, because the next one I think makes me even angrier. No, the sponsor demanding that the car.
Oh my god!
No. BWT,
Like, do one.
pretty much. We want the car to be pink. Aston Martin said no, and BWT went, well, we're going to make everything else pink. Then.
Aston Martin have come out and said we want our car to be even greener. They wanted the pop more on TV.
It's obviously I've been criticised heavily for saying that I don't like the pink part on the car, and I've been told that they're a really good sponsor. They saw them through the tough times. They bring the money, but at some point you've got to just say, "Shut the fuck up."
I think somebody did, and that's why they've jumped on the Austria and pinkified the whole circuit.
Yeah.
I'm not against pink, but that much of it
Just
was
about.
too much.
Do we talk about the cars? I mean, Lance Stroll was pretty anonymous.
And Vettel finishing 2 laps down.
Vettel was technically a DNF, but didn't finish last because the two
I suppose he had the crash.
And Vettel,
didn't
that Vettel accident was a strange one as well, because it was just like Kimi just thought, not going to turn anymore.
he? Yeah, I'm going to drive into you. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, I'm fed up of using my
This is
steering
what
wheel
you get
now.
for being my teammate for years and being better than me.
This is all the times that I wasn't allowed to overtake you, or you had my strategy ballsed up.
This is what happens when you don't vote for me for president.
This is what happens when you do impressions of me at the Autosports Awards.
Right, actually, I did see on social media that that the Aston Martin people put up that they put the English flags all around Seth's helmet and all around the garage. Like that is one, good banter from them as a team, but two, the fact that the German person took it really well and didn't freak out.
Seb Vettel's an awesome guy, so he was always going to take it well.
That's something I said actually on a post when somebody put it up. I was like, fair play to him. The old Seb wouldn't have done that. He wouldn't have took that well. But the fact that he laughed and threw the flag down and quickly picked it back up again.
I mean, picked it up and then gave it a little wave.
Give it a little wave. Yeah.
I think there are 3 drivers in F1 at the moment it's impossible to hate, and that is Lando Norris, George Russell, and Sebastian Vettel.
Yeah.
I think those 3 guys, if those 3 were 1, 2, and 3 every race, I think everyone in the world would be very, very happy.
Yeah, I definitely like him a lot more than when he was driving for Red Bull, because like we said earlier, they were really smarmy and just dickish about it. But yeah, I have always liked him, but more now.
I think if Vettel started winning again, I think...
No, I like it. I miss the crazy frog.
Cocky Sebastian
I miss it.
Would just come back, and nobody liked that.
I don't think so. I think he's matured a lot. He was very young at Red Bull.
Yeah, I think with the kids and stuff, he's chilled now.
And he helps bees now. He builds a car for bees to live in.
But that is pretty cool.
Yeah, he spent his week in Austria with school children building a massive beehive.
These are cool.
Yeah, bees are cool. Sebastian Vettel is cool, and I don't want to carry on talking about Sebastian Vettel in case someone says something bad about him.
He wouldn't have done that if he was driving for Red Bull or Ferrari.
Yeah.
To be fair, he probably would have turned up and smashed the beehive car just out of frustration.
We've got a couple more teams to cover.
Wait. I have a really bad pun. Wait. Sebastian Vettel needs to behave. That's a good... mate, it's dad jokes. Man's got dad jokes.
Oh, bad.
The kids would have killed me if I didn't throw that poor joke out there. I'll give you anyway, Christopher.
Giovinazzi and Raikkonen both finished the race. Schumacher and Mazepin both kind of finished the race. That's the grid done.
Yeah, I mean, it was weird. I mean, those cars at the back, I'm not sure if it was because the camera director was a little better this week, but we didn't see the guys at the back at all, really.
No, they did pretty well.
Until Raikkonen went, fuck, we need some airtime here, so I'm going to drive into Vettel.
That's it. He went all Mario Kart on us.
Now, to finish it off, I have a question.
Easy for you to say.
With to do with the budget. All right, so what the yearly budget is? What, 150 million?
I thought it was that or 200. I can't remember.
200. I wonder how much the likes of Ferrari and Mercedes took in last year in sponsorship. And whether the sponsorship money goes on top of the budget or goes into the budget.
No, it just goes towards it. It's because it's keeping the money, it's keeping the costs down. So what you take in the sponsorship is just revenue, and you can only spend so much out. I think the plan is for teams to stop hemorrhaging money and make it easier for them to survive.
Yeah, so obviously if BWT as an example give them 200 million, they can still only spend 150.
Whatever the amount is. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously they're then putting that 50 million into development, wind tunnels.
Yeah.
Hopefully front suspensions that don't break when you sneeze on them. And stuff like that.
They can't do that because the cars keep crashing.
Yeah, I mean, the retirements Aston Martin have been very unlucky recently. I mean, that Vettel getting crashed into by Kimi, nothing to do with their fault. Pirelli exploding, nothing to do with their fault.
But you look at let's, for example, say, I'm looking up at the grid now to see who I'm thinking of. Who crashed into Bottas at Imola?
Russell.
George Russell. Bottas's crash damage was 1.5 million, and I think Bottas was something like $750,000. And that all has to come out of that budget.
I don't know because I know the FIA are offsetting crash damage in the qualifying races.
Yeah, but that's
season.
because that's extra on top of what we were expecting.
Yeah. I mean, that'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, maybe that will mean there's less pay drivers in Formula One if they're on a budget cap and they can't afford to have drivers who are crashy.
You mean we might actually have real drivers?
We might actually have real drivers. And on that good news, I think we'll wrap it up. Guys, thank you very much for listening. As always, you can find us on our socials. There's a link in the bio of this podcast that can send you to all of those, and our shop where you can buy your face mask of Silverstone. Every penny from that goes to running the group in giving you more competitions, like the ones our sponsors kindly supplied us with.
And guys, if you're going to Silverstone, hit me up. We'll have a meet-up.
There you go. You hear that? COVID secure, I'm sure.
Of course.
But yeah, if you'd like to meet Chris and tell him he talks a load of shit, now's your chance.
I was going to say something, but I'm just going to say bye and save it for the next podcast when Chris has another boner.
Hey, cheerio, guys.
Cheerio, guys.
Cheers, guys. Hey Seb, smash my beehive.